Chapter 3, for the review for the midterm, you need to understand the difference between observational and experiment. So there'll be a situation on there in which you will read, and you determine if it's an observation, or if it is passive, or an experiment which is active. Now, because I'm giving a survey, that is going to be an observation. It is not active. Even though I gave you something, it's just something for you to fill out and observe your feelings, etc. The rest of the part for Chapter 3, you will need to know how to identify the basic terminologies from an experiment. So here might be a situation, and it talks about a tanning salon and whether ultraviolet rays affect the mood or not. And so they took 14 volunteers and they randomly assigned them to identical tanning beds. One had a UV filter, 7 had a UV filter, and then 7 did not have the filter. So this is an experiment. The explanatory variable would be the UV rays, and the response would be if they were having a mood change. Were they excited, pleasure-inducing, etc.? The treatment would be the UV rays, and the control would be the filter put on the tanning bed to block these rays. Was it blinded? Well, we know the participant probably sat there with little blindfolds on so the UV didn't hurt their eyes, but that's not what we mean when we say blinded. Who did not know? Well, we for sure know that the subject did not know when they walked into that tanning salon and laid in that bed, but we don't know if the researcher did or not, so at least know it is single blinded. We cannot determine if it's double or not. Is there replication? Yes, there is. There were 14 people and there were 7 people per bed, and they did this in a repeated fashion. Was it balanced? Yes, there were 7 per bed. Complete randomization. This is a little hard when you have an experiment, because to be completely randomized, you get your subjects randomly and then you randomly assign them to the treatment or the control. So in this case, they were only assigned randomly to their treatment groups. They had to be volunteers. We cannot force them to take part in this experiment. So complete randomization is somewhat a tough one to identify. Confounding variables. Were there confounding variables? Yes, there were. Those might be, maybe that person is just a moody person. Could be their personality. Maybe they had a bad day. Things that we cannot control would be the confounding variables. So again, in Chapter 3, you'll have a situation in which you'll need to read and find these different vocab words within the statement and tell me if they apply and how, or if not.